The Pokemon card market has gone insane. Unpredictable restocks, shortages, and people are furious. And I understand why. But before you panic, there is a silver lining. Today we're breaking down past trends, challenges, and investment strategies that you can take. This video is all about what can we take that's positive from this crazy market. Last year in 2024 is when things began to boom. However, it was a silent boom. Early warning signs. These early warning signs will usually show when things are about to take off. Remember when Twilight Masquerade was cheap, easy to find? I actually remember this set coming out and opening it and not opening very much because I was kind of like, meh, not my jam. And then suddenly, booster boxes were above MSRP and were sold out in Pokemon Center. That was the first sign, the lighting of the wick, you could say. You see, this set was one of the first sets in a while where the chase card was worth more than the booster box. Not just worth more, but nearly double the price of the booster box. This is one of the first things I look for to know things are about to take off. Then the online marketplaces were the only places you can find product. So with it being sold out in Pokemon Center, the only other places find it on the secondary markets. So if it's sold out on there, MSRP isn't going to last long. And then you combine that with the fact that the chase card is worth double the booster box, sealed product, is just going to get ripped apart to try and find that big gamble, that big chase. And typically that chase card will continue increasing in value on par with the increase in value of the sealed product. So if the booster box is sitting at 120 and Greninja is sitting at 240, when that booster box gets to 200, you're going to see Greninja sitting at 400. I know you think that's unlikely, but look at TCG Player right now. We can already see an example of that. That alone, however, won't cause an entire market to go crazy like it has. But you mix it with some of the next points I'm about to make, it's the perfect storm. When low prints hit a hyped set. We had a few, let's say, not so hyped sets come out in Shrouded Fable and Stellar Crown. They weren't bad sets, but because they weren't in high demand, it kind of covered up the fact that Pokemon had shortened print runs. Now, why would Pokemon do that? Well, Scarlet Violet base and the first few sets didn't sell too well. So that 8-month to 12-month window where they start trying to cut back on printing is just now catching up to us. However, it's not noticeable when a set's not really selling well. There's no big hyped cards that people are chasing after, so it kind of goes under the radar. So people kind of ignored Twilight Masquerade slowly creeping up to that MSRP level. Then that's when it happened. The first hype set in a while, Surging Sparks, came out with the infamous Crystal Pikachu that came out at $500 when it released, which is crazy. That was nearly 3 to 4 times the price of the booster box when it came out. Booster box was slightly above MSRP once release hit, but that's still a crazy number at release for a set. Now, you combine that with the fact Surging Sparks releases at above MSRP, or slightly after release above MSRP, with the fact that now you can't find Twilight Masquerade at MSRP, the fires are beginning to roar, guys. Now, it's not just about the sets, but one of the most important things is also the timing. It's all about timing when it comes to Pokemon. You see, if Pokemon would have released Stellar Crown and Shrouded Fable after Surging Sparks, we wouldn't be where we're sitting at right now. Surging Sparks would have came out real hyped, but then the next set would have put product on the shelves. Everyone's not really pumped about it, and you'd see the prices definitely drop down. Now, Surging Sparks would probably stay up, but you'd see prices calm down quite a bit. Kind of like what we saw with Vivid Voltage, staying at a high price when Battle Styles and Chilling Reigns came out, but Battle Styles and Chilling Reign was still kind of low, around 120, 130, whenever it released. But that's not what happened. Surging Sparks was placed in a powder keg of a time slot, which is November. Why is November so bad? Well, Pokemon doesn't release any new products for like 3 to 4-ish months after the November release. So you go most of November, all of December, all of January, and most of February without a product release, and you just released a hype set that was sold out like that, and the previous high set, Twilight Masquerade, is sold out, nowhere to be seen, well, the tide rises for all sets. Now, that wasn't the worst thing they did. It was actually what they did 3 to 4 months after the release. Let's come back to that, though. So let's recap. Twilight Masquerade came out and was a big hit, but it was followed by Shrouded Fable, Stellar Crown, which kind of made everything go under the radar. Seemed like everything was fine because people are still finding product. But then Surging Sparks comes out, shows everyone how little product there is out there, and then suddenly there's no new product releasing. So collectors, rip and shippers, investors, they all start turning back to older set like Scarlet and Violet, Paradox Rift, etc. because they've started seeing the trend and they want to get ahead of the game before those get sold out, and because they start seeing the value in those sets now. When they released, people didn't. Now that tide has raised for all sets. All product is starting to get a little more scarce. And once all product starts hitting that MSRP slot, that's when it happened. Pokemon announced the hypest set they possibly could, which was Prismatic Evolutions, a set everyone wants to open up, that came out 3 to 4 months after a dry spell, but with a super small print run. This just feeds the fire and hypes up the older sets again and causes that tide to raise above all of our heads. Limited print runs fuel FOMO. Empty shelves scare buyers and invite scalpers into the hobby. And now, this is the whole reason I decided to make this video, which is all the hate and anger. I get it. You guys want someone to blame. I want someone to blame. But it's very easy to just try and blame one person. Distribution, scalpers, rip and shippers, me, Pokemon. Everyone's trying to point a finger at somebody, right? Not knowing who to blame because we're angry, okay? However, I feel like that is wasted energy. You could be using that energy to look at the market and decide, how can I actually take advantage of this market and make things better for me and others? So how can we look at this as a positive? Well, this has all happened before. The exact cycle, the only difference is the order of product releases was slightly different. However, time placement was the same. I know what you're thinking. No, it was not Evolving Skies. It actually started last time with Champion's Path. This is when we had the shiny Charizard in a specialty set. Everyone loved it. It sold very well. Now, it was a lot like Twilight Masquerade, where people really didn't see or notice how well it had been selling because Sword and Shield wasn't selling that well yet. But then, that November release happened, which was Vivid Voltage. To be honest, maybe it's just Pikachu who causes all these issues, but Vivid Voltage came out, everyone wanted that Chubachu, they called it, and product, once again, couldn't be found. That Pikachu was selling for more than the booster box, and the same thing happened with Twilight Masquerade happened with the Pikachu. And then Shining Fates followed Vivid Voltage, just like Prismatic Evolutions. Vivid Voltage was in November, we had the hiatus, and then after that big break, Shining Fates, and it was nowhere to be found. Shining Fates was the first set in a while that had been double MSRP before it ever released. We hadn't seen that in the longest time, and that's the one that caused it. Now, what can we do with all this knowledge? Well, Pokemon went back to every set affected by that short supply and printed it into the ground. Up until recently, Vivid Voltage was worthless. Shining Fates was worthless. Two of the biggest sets that were affected by that first big demand. The only one that really was an outlier that didn't get reprinted was Champion's Path. Maybe they didn't really look at Champion's Path as affected, as it was available for quite a while before everything kind of took off. But they reprinted Vivid Voltage into the ground. They reprinted Shining Fates into the ground. Battle Styles used to be higher value. Up until this boom, Battle Styles was still selling for $120. And at release, it was selling for above $120. And it was 3 years later, it's still not selling more. 4 years later. So Battle Styles got printed in the ground. Chilling Reigns got printed in the ground. Evolving Skies got printed in the ground. Celebrations got printed in the ground. So even though they had this big boom, you couldn't find any of those products, they went back and printed the living crap out of those, and you could find them for the longest time. Now, Elias, I hear what you're saying. They just printed everything. No, they didn't. Darkness Ablaze wasn't touched. Champion's Path, Sword and Shield Base. They didn't reprint those as heavily as they did all the other ones. They go back and reprint the ones that they knew everyone couldn't find, and they make sure it's in stock for a long time. It just takes time for Pokemon to do that. So it will come, you just gotta be patient. Well, we know now those cards that are at a higher price right now, when the reprints come, they're going to bottom out. That Pikachu, that nice little chubby rainbow Pikachu, was selling for like $180, $190 for a while, and then when those reprints happen, you get it for $40. Now, since the latest boom, it's creeping back up. So it gives us an insight of where the potential is for product to reach. So you can take note of that. Instead of looking at it as horrible, just think, hey, I can invest when the reprints happen and no one's willing to buy it because it's so cheap. In 3-4 years, it's going to be back up to that price, which makes it a great investment. Or if you're just a collector, you know, when that price bottoms out, I'll be able to get those single cards I really want for my collection for nothing. Or next to nothing. Now, maybe you're sitting on a few sealed items that weren't selling well before, but now is massive in price. Maybe you're sitting on a booster box of Surging Sparks, and you're afraid to open it because you're like, man, I'm not going to get that Pikachu out of it. It's a $300 booster box. I don't really want to touch it. Here's my advice for it, and everyone in the comment section is going to hate me for this. Sell it. What's the alternative? You hold on to it and you wait for these reprints to come and then it bottoms out? Yes, you can wait a little longer, see if it creeps up to 350, 400, but you don't do it in time and that bottoms out, you're going to be sitting with it. Now, that's fine if you're just looking for it for a sealed collection, and this is where people are going to hate me. Sell it when it's at its peak, because here's why. You can sell that now, one booster box. Wait for those reprints to come, and you can probably buy the exact same booster box and get 3 of them for that one. Yes, it's going to take a while for it to go up, but it eventually will. Or you can sell that one Surging Sparks booster box, wait for a new release that hits during normal market times, and you can get 3 brand new booster boxes for that one price. Maybe you want 3 separate ones, so you can get set up for 3 of the next sets from one booster box price. Even if you aren't an investor, you are just someone who likes opening packs. What's better? 1 booster box or 3? That's 3 times the packs you get to open, 3 times the cards for your collections. So that would be my advice. I'm not only giving you this advice, I did it myself. I sold all my sealed collection already just a few weeks ago because the shop was so empty. But I also know if I sell this now, I will be able to buy more product in the future for way cheaper. That's a smart investment to me. Now, if everyone did this, this would put more product on the market. Prices will slowly start creeping down, and it's a win-win for everybody. But it's not about the market to me. All I can think about, what can I do best for me? What can I do best for my customers? You as a consumer, all you should be asking, what can I do best for me? I'm not talking about going out and wiping off store shelves. I'm just talking about what you already have. As a normal, reasonable person who doesn't shove down children, take product, this is what I would do if you're having trouble finding product and you're annoyed and you want to know the best route to take. Sell high, buy low. Simple stock advice. I know Pokemon's not stocks, but if you're just looking at pack to price ratio, that's the cheapest way you're going to open up packs. I'm not saying Pokemon are stocks, but in the long run, this is one of the best ways to save your money. I just wanted to give a positive perspective what you can take away from these times that are causing a lot of anger and hate and chasing a lot of people away from the hobby, which breaks my heart. Someone was just telling me on Instagram the other day how they actually saw someone they hadn't seen in a while at an event, a pre-release event. It's been 8 years, and it was so cool to see like 3 generations of people all playing together. That's what Pokemon's about. When the market's high, it's about that. When it's low, it's about that. Don't forget that. And those of you who are into it for investing or trying to create a store, that's fine as well. My advice is the same. Sell high, buy low. Versus looking at everything and just pulling your hair out, hoping one product comes available at Walmart and you might get pushed over trying to get it. So the Pokemon TCG market right now is more dynamic than ever, but with that comes unpredictability. The key takeaways of this video is the market trends that we saw in Sword and Shield are likely to repeat themselves here in Scarlet and Violet. I could go back and even show you the market trends of Sun and Moon, The reprints of Roaring Skies, this has happened time and time again. It's never going to stop. It's going to keep happening. Pokemon's one of the biggest franchises in the world. It's not going anywhere but up. While challenges like scalping, low inventory, FOMO, and anger remain, they also create great openings for those who stay informed, opportunity to best value their collections and the way they can collect. In the short term, watch out for reprints, monitor performance of sets, and avoid FOMO and emotional buying. In the long run, Pokemon tends to always go upwards. Pokemon will reprint sets that are affected by shortages, and everything will drop in the short term, but will rise back up. In that time, diversify your collection, your investment, or your store inventory. And most of all, stay positive. This hobby we do for fun. My business, I do for fun. I do this because I enjoy it. I do YouTube because I enjoy it. I don't need to. I make a lot of money from my gym. It's very successful. I blew out our first gym that took 10 years to establish. The amount of members, I took over that in a year with our new one. I don't need to do this. I do it because I enjoy it. That's why we sell at MSRP on the store, because I can, and I'm not doing it to become Big Pocket Timmy, right? Plus, our allocations aren't high enough to do that anyways. But stay positive. Remember, we're doing this because we enjoy it. Lastly, comment down below what you think about these market trends, and also let me know about this format. This video was a lot more scripted because I really wanted to hit specific points and be very accurate with some of the things I say, where most of the times I just throw on the camera and I just start talking. But I know I tend to talk circles sometimes because I'm kind of processing what I'm thinking as I'm talking. So let me know if you like this format, or did you not like as much of the editing and everything being spliced together as much, or you really don't care, you just want the info. Either way, let me know in the comment section down below. And lastly, our last giveaway winner. Don't forget, we're still giving away prismatic booster bundles, so if you comment down below your favorite Pokemon, you can still win prismatic booster bundles. But let's announce our newest winner. And before I announce them, I just want to say thank you to everybody. We just hit 2,000 subscribers, and that was thanks to all you guys. So the latest winner today is Poketeam Carter and Ryan. So I guess 2 people, but they get 1 prismatic booster bundle. So Poketeam Carter and Ryan, that's a long name. Hit me up on Instagram or on our website to get your free booster bundle. Find them for the longest time.